Nitish Kumar's JDU and Chandrababu Naidu's TDP, whose support is crucial to the BJP at the centre, have not been placated very much via ministry positions. So, the widespread expectation is that the two parties have been promised financial bonanza for their states. Now, how will this be provided is what we are discussing today. First, a brief background. Taxes are shared between the centre and the states as per formulas designed by the finance commissions appointed every 5 years. But in the past, the finance commissions had a special category status states, mostly tribal and backward states, who were given central grants for projects designed by the planning commission. These special states were all the northeastern states, Manipur, Mizoram, etc., plus some hilly states like Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. However, the 14th Finance Commission decreased the assistance through the Planning Commission and central schemes. Instead, it increased the state's share in taxes from 32% to 42%. Thereafter, the advantages of being a special category state decreased. So, how will Andhra and Bihar be financially rewarded now? Will the special category status states be revived by the current 16th Finance Commission, or will the two states just demand special packages from the centre, from the annual budget that's about to be presented? Or is there a third or a fourth way? To discuss this, I have with me Dr. Jyotsna Tirunagari, the national spokesperson for the TDP. And I have with me three economists who have been with the Finance Commission: Dr. Atin Roy, who was economic advisor to the 13th Finance Commission; Pinaki Chakrabarti, member of the Advisory Council to the 15th Finance Commission; and Dr. Govinda Rao, who was member himself of the 14th Finance Commission. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your time. Gentlemen and Jyotsna. Jyotsna, actually, let me start with you. What are you all going to ask the centre? Will it be special category status revived, or will it be something else?
See, definitely, we have to first look into the state finances. What's happening with the state finances? Yesterday, when we had our new cabinet take oath, after that, there was a small discussion with our party supremo and the chief minister of the state of Andhra Pradesh. All the ministers had a meeting with him, and there it was decided that initially we would, look into each and every ministry, each and every department, and try and release a white paper as to where the, what is the position financially for that particular department. That's important, because we do not know for the past 5 years what has happened with every department. To be very honest, the state of Andhra Pradesh requires financial support. The state, but up to what extent, and up to what, whether it is an immediate financial support that we are requiring or expecting, or probably some now and some for a long standing thing.
Okay.
We have to figure out all these things, and it would take probably a week or so to check all the things, because as I said, nothing was there. We do not have anything in hand.
Okay.
And our major focus, again, I've mentioned several times earlier also, our major focus again remains in the development of Amaravati as the capital of the state of Andhra Pradesh, and fast completion of Polavaram, because which is very, very important for the development of the state of Andhra Pradesh.
Okay. I get that, Jyotsna ji. We have from the CAG, last year's CAG report, some data on how much money was given for the city of Amaravati. I'll come to that in just a minute. But let me first get out the special category status first. Let me get to the person who was in the latest Finance Commission, Dr. Chakrabarti. Dr. Chakrabarti, this special category status states, is that now an anachronism? Is there any point in either of the states asking for that status?
I think there are 3-4 issues as far as special and non-special category state is concerned. I think special and non-special category states distinction may not be very relevant after the abolition of Planning Commission and introduction of GST. Industry-specific tax exemptions have been withdrawn after the introduction of GST. So, being a special category state, a state may not really gain just because the status is given to a state. Abolition of Planning Commission also resulted in significant reduction in the central assistance in the form of additional central assistance, special plan grants. But as far as Andhra Pradesh is concerned, I think two issues are very important. State has been bifurcated, and there is a cost involved uh, that needs to be actually provided for.
Okay.
And if we look at the 14th and 15th Finance Commission report, the state was provided a revenue deficit grant, which was not provided to the United Andhra Pradesh. But I think capital expenditure requirement is there. So an appropriate assessment of that need and the resolution of that would be important.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, actually, the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act does have a provision for special financial help, which apparently a bit of it was given for the city of Amaravati. But we understand from the CAG reports that the questions posed on the DPR, the detailed plan report, were not answered by the state government, and therefore subsequent funds were not provided, and therefore there are half-built, construction sites, is what we gather from the CAG reports. But Dr. Govinda Rao, can special status be revived? It died with the Planning Commission, so to speak, and your commission, 14th Finance Commission. But can it be revived?
Finance Commission did not discriminate did not make a distinction between special and non-special category states. By the time the Finance Commission deliberated, the Planning Commission was abolished. So
Yes.
obviously they had to take into account, and the terms of reference to the 14th Finance Commission wanted them to take into account both plan and non-plan requirements.
Okay.
And therefore, obviously it had to subsume what the Planning Commission was giving. To that extent, special category states were impacted. But then, as Pinaki said, we did make assessment of revenue deficit. That means that, revenue receipts and revenue deficit. And the commission clearly said that every state is a special state for us. So we look at basically both the revenue capacity and expenditure needs, and then give the transfers. Now, no, the problem with Andhra Pradesh now is that there is a huge fiscal problem. Their fiscal deficit their revenue deficit estimated for 22-23 is somewhere about 3.2% of GDP, 3.3. And the fiscal deficit is 4.4. Commensurately, the capital expenditure is just about 1.3% of GDP. And you see that their debt levels are 33%, and interest payment to revenue ratio is huge. So it's, the freebies have been given over a period of time so that they have a huge fiscal problem. Apart from that, just to mention about the 2014 reorganization, see, in addition to Amaravati, there was also a provision for meeting the revenue expenditure of 2013-14, the year when the state was divided. But the state's complaint was that adequate provision was not made to compensate them for the revenue expenditure in that year. So there was a lot of problem, but now with this, we have to see how they will go about. There is no advantage of the additional major advantage of being a special category states. They have to basically ask for major central projects in the state.
Okay. Jyotsna, what will your, is there any idea as to whether you will wait for the Finance Commission or expect something from the government in the current budget itself? It will take time for the money to come via Finance Commission. What are your demands for this year? Because, that will affect the budget. That's why I'm asking you. It's something the markets want to know. Would you want something from the budget?
Definitely. We want an immediate support from the this budget that we are having.
Okay.
I think we'll definitely put forward, as I said, probably a week or so, we'll have a fair enough idea as to what is the immediate support that we require.
Okay.
So that's not something that we that would be huge or something like that. But yes, we have to sustain and we have to probably run the show.
Yeah.
So definitely we would require from some support, some basic support that we are calling.
Okay.
And then we'll decide.
How do you define basic? How many, is it 1,000 crores, 5,000 crores? Just an idea as to what are we looking at?
See, ideally, honestly, what's happened is truly the financial condition of the state of Andhra Pradesh, nobody knows. I doubt even if the ex-finance minister would
No. Madam, actually, your numbers are better than Bihar, by the way. There is more clarity. Dr. Atin Roy, we just lost you. The conversation so far has been special status has kind of become an anachronism. And as Jyotsna says, they are in need of immediate money, which has to come from the budget. Can't wait for the 16th Finance Commission. Do you think the demands of Andhra can weigh on the current budget?
Well, it's very easy question to answer. There is nothing in the terms of reference as they stand of the 16th Finance Commission that required them to give any special packages or anything of the sort. These are very good terms of reference because they're very opening.
Yeah.
So unless the government inserts something specific to Andhra and Bihar, I would advise these states not to hope for too much from the Finance Commission.
Okay.
Second question comes is one on welfare. So what has happened in the last government, the YSR CP government, is that essentially they maxed out on a number of welfare schemes, which proves surprisingly unattractive electorally to them. Mr. Naidu has made a commitment that he will maintain these welfare schemes. In fact, add on a few more. If that happens, then that is not going to be fiscally sustainable, even with very generous borrowing relaxations from the central government. On top of that, then you're talking about capital expenditure. And this is going to be a very difficult fiscal ask, because I want to make a slightly political point here. This government, for now, has no friends in South India. This is the only NDA government in South India. So you're not going to get the automatic cooperative spirit that you would normally see between the southern states. Given that, it is going to be very difficult for a government where the largest single party is a minority to provide generous resources that are eye-catching, forget eye-watering, in the first budget. Now comes the second issue, where I think, which if I'm not mistaken, perhaps TDP spokesperson could correct me, is the reason why Mr. Naidu actually left the NDA, the second time he left the NDA, just before he rejoined the NDA, which was that there was a promise made to provide an adequate amount of assistance to the Andhra Pradesh state for inter-area building of the capital, and also, frankly, to compensate to some extent for the loss of economic activity and revenue that came from the sort of removal of its biggest city, Hyderabad. That promise, I was slightly involved with, in the sense I was part of a committee which calculated the size of that package. And in today's terms, that package would come to about 4 lakh crores. 4 lakh crores would be what the TDP government could legitimately expect from the rest of India for this. Now, it is not going to come from the Finance Commission unless there's a change in the terms of reference and the other states will then have something to say about it. So it will have to come from the government budget.
Okay.
So there are two questions here. Will it come? And if it doesn't come, then what is going to happen? Because there has been no explicit ask from Mr. Naidu for a special package which is costed and presented to the sector. I presume that is what the TDP spokesperson is referring to, that there will be a package that will be asked for in lakh crore rupees. And I can assure you it will be in lakh crore rupees. The only question that's negotiable then, if the government does say yes, is one of timing. And then the more specific, I think the AP government's plans are for how to use that money. And I think that the spokesperson was fairly specific. The more credible would be the enablement to roll out the package, which finally, the one joker in the pack, which is, are you going to give the same amount of money to Bihar?
Yes.
And if you are, then I would very much like to see what the fiscal arithmetic is.
No, I completely agree with you that giving a large package via the Finance Commission will require all states to be equally treated. So wouldn't Bihar, with a lower per capita income, demand something more? And will other, even poorer states, therefore, stake their claims even higher? Those questions, I will have to take a commercial break, those questions after the break.